Welcome to Let's Talk About It. I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara.
And you're listening to the dating season. This season focuses on women loving women dating, what it means, how to go about it, and all your questions answered. So sit back, relax, and enjoy this podcast.
Today we're talking about dating ideas.
That's right. So I have broken up my ideas into different categories. I don't know how you've done your ideas because we came to this with different recommendations.
I think let's start off with yours and I'll probably add some in and we might, just expand on the categories as we go. But the whole idea for this particular episode is that we've been looking at how do you find the right person to date? How do you know when it's the right time to date? But we've left out the very important part of the actual date. And I think for some people, like finding the right activity to do can be difficult. So this is all about ideas that you can use to go on a date. And whether it's your first date or your third date or your fifth date, I think we'll find ideas for any situation.
Absolutely. And now I want to just specify that I've done this in certain categories because you want to go on dates that she will enjoy.
Yes.
Obviously that you'll enjoy too, but stuff that she'll enjoy. So when you get to know her, get to know what kind of stuff she likes doing.
Or find things that you both have in common and try to do activities around that so that you're both having fun.
Yes, exactly. So I'll give you an example. For somebody who loves action and getting out there and physically doing something, a pottery class might not be the best date for her, but bowling or going to a theme park would be excellent for her.
Actually, one of the funnest dates that we ever did was we went sandboarding. And it was the first time for both of us. And I think that definitely falls into, people who are more actiony. Not that I'm an action person, but it was lots of fun.
I think you underestimate your action hero self. Okay, so let's start with action since we sort of started with that already. So bowling, theme park, mini golf, rock climbing, ice skating or roller skating.
And like something like the sandboarding or even snowboarding if you're lucky enough to be in a place where there's snow. Or even we did a canopy tour where what is this thing called? A
zip line.
Oh, yes. It's a zip line across a canyon or a forest. And that's a lot of fun. Obviously, you have to be okay with heights, but it definitely gets the adrenaline pumping. And if you're into that kind of a thing, lots of fun. You don't need to know how to do it beforehand. I think it's quite a cool activity.
Absolutely. You also get things like trampoline parks nowadays.
Yes. And apparently they're not just for kids.
No, there's grown-up trampolines too. If she likes learning new stuff, right, and likes action, take her to a dance class.
Mm-hmm.
Try boxing class. You can even take her shooting. So you can actually take her to a shooting class or something like skeet shooting as an outdoor kind of activity.
Archery even is quite fun.
If she's someone who's a little bit more competitive and likes to go kind of one-on-one against other folks, consider a board game evening at your local gaming store, a trivia night, or an escape room.
But I think, also for those kinds of things, you need to make sure that you're both okay with competitiveness so that you don't end off the night with sore feelings.
Yes.
I just think things where there's some sort of competition, especially when you don't know someone very well, can end up being a problem. I mean, how many families have been broken up by Monopoly?
Well, a good rule of thumb is don't play Monopoly. Okay.
Monopoly Deal, on the other hand, is a fantastic card game.
A Monopoly Deal is a great card game. Lots of fun. Okay. So card games fall into board games and stuff. And you'll often find that your local gaming store has specific nights of the month dedicated to new board games. For a relatively nominal fee, you get access to a whole lot of stuff. You can also find friends there. It's kind of fun.
So there are also board game cafes where you can actually ask the waiters for their recommendations based on your likes, and they can recommend a game, and usually there's some small fee for renting out the game, but it's a lot of fun. You get to try something new, and I think it's also, again, like a low stress situation because you're both learning a game from scratch.
So if she loves creativity and artistic pursuits,
get out the pottery wheel.
Well, exactly. It's definitely it's on my it's on my list. So one of the things is karaoke. You can sing karaoke at a karaoke bar. There's also games like for your Xbox or whatever it is that you can do karaoke at home.
And if you are a pop star at heart, but you do not like being out in public, you do get places that have karaoke booths where you actually rent out a room for a couple of hours and you can do private karaoke. So karaoke does not have to mean an audience.
And actually singing love songs to each other can be super romantic.
Yeah.
Another thing you can do is painting or pottery classes. You even get little studio type things where you sit for an hour and paint like a mug or a plate or that kind of thing.
Yeah, and they're usually the social situations anyway, so they usually come with wine or coffee or whatever it is. So you don't have that intensity of like it's just the two of us, especially if it's a first date. That like breaks the tension a little bit, and you've also got your mind on something else, but while you're still having a shared experience. So I think, that's great for bonding and getting to know each other without having to have that intense hyper focus on each other.
So if she's really into culture and art, go to an art gallery together. Talk about the paintings. Go to a museum together. Go to a reading of a novel. There are a lot of authors putting out novels and doing readings and various events. You can find something at your local bookstore, I'm sure.
And if you like have already exhausted like all the museums whatever in your city, there's a whole bunch of online exhibitions and museum tours that you can actually take. So that might be fun. You can't afford a ticket to Paris to have a romantic date, take her to the Louvre digitally.
Absolutely. You can also find a lot of authors doing readings online if you're interested. If you know that she likes a particular author, find a reading online, watch it together, have a discussion about the book, read the book. You know what I mean? Read the book to each other. That's also kind of romantic.
It is. It's cozy. It's something you can do together, and it's very personal.
Live music events are happening all the time, all over the world. There are even digital ones that you can enjoy. Right now, we are seeing a lot of musicians coming online and doing Facebook Live events, little mini concerts and stuff, which is pretty cool.
Also Instagram live. So basically, if there is a video option on social media, there's a lot of options at the moment to, get entertained.
Yes. Find a photo booth. One of those photo booths to do the strip photos? Find a photo booth somewhere after or during your date and take photos together. It's super cute, super romantic. It might be a little old school, but there's something memorable about the whole experience.
There is. It does become an experience in itself within the date. I think it's because you don't really see them that much anymore. We've all got phones where to, take selfies. So, finding something a little bit old-fashioned like that can be fun.
Something else for people who love the kind of creativity and the using the interesting side of your brain along with being outdoorsy is to do a scavenger hunt together. There are loads of scavenger hunt type things online that you can do. You can also do geocaching, where people will leave funny little trinkets in specific locations that you have to then track down. It's kind of fun. Look it up. There's a whole
community behind it.
Thank you. Yes, there's a whole community behind geocaching and scavenger hunts.
I think something quite fun would also be something like a photo walk. Or if you know that someone enjoys, say, bird watching or insect watching or whatever it is, like going out and doing that activity together. And it also gives you lots of options because this is something you can do more than once by going just to different locations.
Absolutely. This transitions nicely into sort of someone who loves the outdoors. Go to the beach. Take a hike. Go to your local zoo or aquarium together. Botanical gardens even. Especially if you both like flowers and all the pretty stuff going on there.
And sometimes it's just good to be out in nature. And depending on where you are in the world, there will be parks or nature reserves where you can get out into nature and you can be a little bit more isolated or be by yourselves while still being in a shared space. So, you're still out with people, but you can still be together.
You can even go on a bike ride. There are places where you can hire bikes to go on like a little trail if you don't have your own bikes.
Or horse riding.
Horse riding, absolutely.
Thank you for being an awesome listener and supporting Tilt, the channel that brings you all the podcasts you want to hear. You're listening to Tilt. Find more podcasts on thelesbiantalkshow.com.
Fly a kite. When last did you fly a kite?
I think it might have been with your little cousin when he was like 3 or 4 on a beach. And it didn't go well because there wasn't much wind.
It was like 12 years ago.
About that.
The thing with flying a kite, though, what makes it so awesome to do as a date is it's almost impossible to launch a kite by yourself. So it is an activity that takes 2 people. And it's kind of amazing if you can get it right. Gives you that sense of accomplishment.
It's true. Either way, you'll have something to talk about afterwards. It either went terribly badly or it went super well.
And if you make a little bit of an event of it, take a picnic with, do it in a nice park where whether or not the kite is successful doesn't matter. You can still have your nice afternoon in the sun.
Completely. And if the park you're in happens to have a small lake or something, go out on the water, hire a boat. It's fun.
It's like you're reading my mind, though, because my very next point is to book a dinner or breakfast cruise. If you're somewhere where there's water and there's these breakfast cruises, it's actually really kind of an awesome experience to do. It can be a little expensive.
Mm-hmm.
And the food is generally not fabulous because it's made on a boat. But the experience of it, especially if it's like a sunset or a sunrise cruise, is super romantic.
Or if you have the ability to it, like rent your own boat and take a pre-packed picnic and some drinks and that, and you can be a little bit more by yourselves and then still enjoy being out on the water with a good picnic.
Some more kind of cultural type stuff that you can do is you can go to a comedy club together, go watch a drag show, go to shows that you wouldn't normally go to, like maybe the theatre, the opera, the ballet, movies under the stars. Something memorable that you can both look back on and go, wow, that was an amazing or a terrible show.
No, completely. One of the coolest things we've done together is we went to an arts festival and we booked all these different plays, having heard of none of them really. And some were amazing and some were just downright terrible, but every single one of them is a memory. And we were able to bond about how horrible the one horror was because, it was so badly done.
So bad.
But, we can also appreciate how amazing the one with the masks was. So even if it's something that you both have never heard of, go take the risk, be open to new experiences.
Completely. Something else which is pretty cool is to go antiquing together.
Mm-hmm.
Especially if you're in the kind of area where there's a lot of genuine antique stores and not just secondhand junk stores.
Yes, and you don't have to go with the mind that you need to buy something or there's something specific you want to do. You don't even have to be a collector, but it's actually fun to just go back through history, through items and see the different things. And you might, be lucky enough to find a piece that you really love and that you want.
Sometimes you can find old medical devices and you can't figure out what this possibly could be, or old photographic devices that just wow, that's amazing, or that kind of thing. The whole goal here is to take the pressure off of that date where you're staring across the table at somebody and having the pressure to talk. This is shared experiences.
Another thing that's fun to do is if you are in a small town or you go on a date in a small town, is to find the very local sort of museums, and those are always fun because they're not big, they don't have the huge curated exhibitions, but they'll a lot of the time be very quirky. So you will have a lot to talk about because you're not seeing the same old things that you've seen. Sometimes it's historic homes, sometimes it's just a collection of weird things. Go out and find those experiences. They're fun.
Absolutely. Gives you memories together, which is important, I think.
And generally, they're not too expensive either because they are much smaller than the, bigger museums.
My next category is giving back. So for the woman who likes to give back to the community, if giving back to the community is something that's important to you, here are a couple of ideas that you can do together. Volunteer somewhere. Find a local animal shelter that needs some help painting kennels or stripping down and washing linen or whatever it is.
Mm-hmm.
You can also do some DIY at her place. This is a good chance for you to show off some of your skills with a drill. If she needs some pictures mounted or she needs a cupboard handle fixed or whatever it is, sometimes it's really cool for you to do something like that. And often you'll find what she'll do to reciprocate is she'll make you a lovely meal. That's kind of intimate. It's kind of cool. I really like this idea.
And that's a great idea. And what's also like it can feed into your interests again. So, if you're into animals or you're into your community, whatever it is, you can have again some shared experiences around that.
Another one is you can walk someone's dog together. There's probably an elderly person in your neighborhood that has a puppy that could use a walk. Or you can find them online. There are some sites dedicated to volunteering to walk other people's dogs if they can't do it.
You can also help elderly people through reading to them, going grocery shopping, preparing meals, delivering meals, that kind of a thing. And these are all activities you can do in a group. And I think the next category we should cover is dating online, because for lots of reasons you might not be able to be in the same room as the person you're dating, whether it's because you're in different countries or you're in different time zones or, life at the moment. So some ideas that encompass being by yourself but being together online include online gaming. So if you both like games, that's a great way to get together and do something. These online tours of museums, parks, those are great ways to see something, experience something together, but you can do it digitally. You're already online, so why not take a walk through a museum together online?
There is technology that allows you to share screens. There's technology that allows you to video conference with each other. There's really no reason you can't continue dating online. And you can probably do a lot of these activities online. Okay, you can't fly a kite maybe, but you could take a art class together. If you have a sketch, pencil and paper, I'm sure that there's some sort of drawing class you can do online together.
Oh, there's tons. If you look at something like Udemy or Ellison.com, there's tons of websites where there's classes. Hey, even Google, on YouTube, you can find something and you can, watch it together and you can go through it. Hey, watch a Bob Ross video and do a painting.
There we go. Bob Ross is making a comeback online right now.
He is, but it's definitely something you can do. And I think another cool idea would be to choose a recipe together. So you can cook dinner together while chatting to each other. Then you can sit down and eat and actually have dinner while having a conversation.
Absolutely. Just like a date.
Exactly. But just online, but still together.
So there's another one you can do, and you can actually do this one online together, is you can see a psychic.
A psychic?
There are online psychics, and you can collectively go see a psychic online together. And it's one of these fun sort of once-in-a-lifetime type experiences. For those who don't necessarily believe in psychic powers, it's sometimes just a fun thing to do. Have your tarot cards read or your palm.
That is kind of fun.
You can also find comedy videos online. You can do a scavenger hunt if you're smart about it. If you and her do a tiny scavenger hunt in your own houses with things that you typically have, but you can time it and race her.
No, that is fun. You can totally do that. Also, what you can do is you can watch the same movie together, and you can either just be together quietly watching the movie and making comments as you go, or you can watch it knowing that you're going to be commenting throughout. So watch something or a TV series that you have strong feelings about and watch it together. You can pause, you can have conversations about it, you can snark, you can cry, whatever it is. But you're enjoying something at the same time, even though you're not physically together.
I think that there's a lot of things you can do, so don't feel down like you can't find somebody you can. You can still spend time with her. You can still find love.
I think we've given a nice variety of ideas for dates, and I think, there's probably something in the list for anyone.
The important thing is to know what she enjoys and for you both to be open to doing things that you've never done before together, so that you have that experience, that built stash of life things that you've done as a unit, as opposed to just like your experiences versus her experiences.
Yes. So I think the biggest key takeaway is don't focus on something that just you like or that just she likes and just do that. There has to be some kind of, I don't know if compromise is the right word, but some sort of thing where you're both going to be loving it. So for example, if there's some big sporting event and you want to go down to the local pub or have a viewing party at your house for the sporting event, but she hates sporting events, don't make that your date. Have the event, enjoy it for yourself, but then have a date as something completely different. Just because it's your interest and a lot of people who like it doesn't mean that she's interested in that.
Absolutely. That's all for this episode. You're listening to Let's Talk About It. I'm Sheena.
And I'm Tamara, and we're wishing you luck on your next date.
Absolutely. Go out there and knock your socks off. If you enjoy this podcast, please make sure to rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts. It helps other queer women find this show.
We love you, and we appreciate it if you share this podcast with your friends. We'd like to get as many people listening to this channel as possible, and that not only means that we're able to continue doing this, but it means that we're reaching out more people and making people more comfortable being out.
Absolutely. Queer content is important. Help us make it and help us grow.
Thank you for listening, and we will see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.